You're pretty smart, also humorous and clever. You are, of course. But if we were mistaken, wouldn't that be awful? Psychologists have demonstrated that we are, more often than we may realize, to be blind to our shortcomings. This could help us understand why specific, unskilled individuals are so bothersome and give us a healthy dose of humility. I am Caden, with expertise in self-development and finance. In my channel, I will tell you different ways to invest money and become a better version of yourself. In a 1999 study, Unskilled and Unaware of It, How Difficulties in Recognizing One's Own Incompetence Lead to Inflated Self-Assessments, Kruger and Dunning discovered the psychological bias whereby a person considers oneself to be brighter and more competent than they are. According to a description of a phenomenon known as the Downing effect, people are more likely to believe they have a higher IQ than average the lower their IQ is. For instance, a person with an IQ of 90 might think they have a 120 IQ, and a person with an IQ of 100 would feel like they have a 140 IQ score. On the other end of the spectrum, folks with high IQs tend to overestimate those with IQs similar to their own and underestimate their own IQ. In other words, they overestimate those who are similar to them and underestimate themselves. The first people to notice the Dunning effects were David Dunning and Justin Kruger, who explained it. The incompetence miscalibration results from a mistake about themselves, whereas the highly competence miscalibration results from an error about others. It demonstrates how those with poor ability lack the critical thinking skills and self-awareness needed to realize just how low their ability actually is. They consequently have a higher opinion of their own skill and knowledge. It is when people are too foolish to know how stupid they are, to put it simply. Cornell University professors David Dunning and Justin Kruger created the theory underlying this phenomenon. They discovered that this cognitive bias occurs when people overestimate their level of skill, or ineptitude, at a task and fail to accurately judge their level of incompetence. The term Mount Stupid is another name for the theory. Mount Stupid is defined as the place where you have enough understanding of a subject to be outspoken about it, without the wisdom to obtain the whole information or read about the topic, by the Urban Dictionary. Before developing their theories, these scientists tested participants on their knowledge of comedy, logic, physics, and grammar. They discovered that the taskmasters regularly overestimated their aptitude. On the other hand, those who fared the worst thought they had done well. They found that in every test, the participants' ability to appropriately judge their own competence decreased as cognitive capacity did. In their research, they utilized the following illustration of a person who thought they were brilliant, but wasn't. In 1995, MacArthur Wheeler entered 2 banks in Pittsburgh and robbed them openly, wearing no apparent disguise. Later that evening, less than an hour after surveillance camera footage of him was shown on the 11 o'clock news, he was hauled into custody. Mr. Wheeler seemed incredulous when police later showed him the surveillance videos. He said, "But I wore the juice." Evidently, Mr. Wheeler believed that rubbing one's face with lemon juice made it undetectable to videotape cameras. In other words, Dunning and Kruger found that you are more likely to be mistaken and more confident in your knowledge of a subject if you are less bright. Being uncertain in this situation is frequently indicative of intelligence. Everyone is familiar with someone who exaggerates their intelligence. However, you'd better make sure you're free of the Dunning-Kruger effect before making a judgment. We have been aware of this concept for many years. Alexander Pope is usually credited as having coined the expression, "A little knowledge is a hazardous thing," in his 1709 essay, An Essay on Criticism. Josh Billings, a comedian, once quipped, "It's not what you don't know that gets you in trouble. What you are sure of is what is just untrue." Unfortunately, there is no quick fix for the issue. Dunning noted that bad performers would have to possess the very competence they lack in order to recognize their ineptitude. It's interesting to note that Dunning-Kruger's research revealed that when you gain knowledge or proficiency, you start to view your own abilities less positively. You become conscious of everything you don't know about a topic. This is the imposter syndrome, a totally different cognitive bias. Even though it might be amusing to see someone make a fool of themselves, the Dunning-Kruger effect can be harmful. For instance, although exercise is the most efficient way to manage pain, doctors have discovered that elderly individuals avoid it. This happens because they wrongly think that the physical pain they experience after working out proves they have aggravated the disease. The effects on bias in economic contexts are also severe. According to studies, overconfident financiers and consumers who weren't as financially savvy as they thought, they were to blame for the 2008 financial crisis. The same phenomenon appears to occur with parents. The worst ones are convinced they are fine and place the blame for their house's train wrecks squarely on others, while the outstanding ones are full of doubt and are harsh on themselves. The same is true, in my experience, of doctors. The most exceptional doctors I've seen tend to be more reserved and unsure of their own abilities, unlike some people who are absolutely sure they can do no wrong. Yet, why? Why does this seem to be true so universally? Why, even though the most thorough studies and research have frequently tended to be full of doubt, are flat earthers so utterly confident of themselves and unflinchingly afraid? Nikola Tesla, one of history's most talented inventors, was renowned for being passive and timid, while yielding to Thomas Edison, a less brilliant inventor who claimed enormous credit for a little more than packing intelligent individuals into a room and telling them to get to work. What if intelligent people constantly question everything, including themselves, and that in and of itself is an act of intelligence? Honesty in examining what is good and wrong, proper and incorrect, is a trait of intelligent individuals. It takes intelligence to challenge the status quo and the appearance of reality. It is prudent to acknowledge your ignorance. Even more wise is admitting that you were mistaken. Dumb people don't behave like this. It is dumb to lack the capacity for critical thought, scrutiny, or an open mind. It is foolish to condemn someone as evil or incorrect simply because they disagree with you, and it is ridiculous to do both. Because this is an act of intelligence, intelligent individuals have self-doubt. Since moving forward when uncertain is seen to be clever, they are unwilling to do so since they know they could be incorrect at any time and about anything. Intelligent people are not skeptics. I consider skeptics to be innovative. On the other hand, those who don't doubt themselves are the ones who are stupid, not those who do. A person is more likely to be silly the less they have self-doubt. The good news is that this particular stupidity is reversible. People can learn to control their thinking brain rather than their emotional brain when making decisions in life. Easy to say, but difficult to practice since, as we all know, foolish people frequently fail to participate in the wise act of self-examination. Fortunately, there is a form of stupidity that can be fixed. The emotional folks. Fixing stupidity. Here are some fundamental actions you can do to improve your intelligence if it is discovered that you are stupid. Acknowledge your stupidity. We're all stupid. I, you, and St. Nick. Those of us, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Morons. Socrates practically admitted to being a fool because he understood that becoming smart required first realizing that you were a fool. Even those who are the most knowledgeable only know a small portion of all that is possible to know. You can only begin to learn when you acknowledge your stupidity. Continue to learn. People with intelligence acquire knowledge. Notably, they learn more about themselves. Do you know who you are? Do you recognize your own feelings and actions? Do you truly understand who you are? How much do you believe you are in charge of your life and future? Are you content? Do you feel in control? The majority of people don't understand themselves as well as they think they do. Do you desire intelligence? Then keep thinking constantly. Keep your emotions in check. Develop the ability to think more and feel less. You're stupid because of your feelings. They make you jump to conclusions, believe in absolutes, and prevent you from viewing situations from several angles. Learn to think critically and to only feel strongly about topics you love or are enthusiastic about. Develop the habit of thinking before feeling. Many people are interested in learning how to improve their capacity for thought while taming their emotional responses. Start with learning, philosophy, and meditation. You may quickly become clever if you give up using your phone for 1 hour each day and read a book instead.